Hey guys, welcome to our weekly tournament report from the Covenant store in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's Zach. I'm Steven, and we are with Team Covenant, and we're going to run down the last week's tournaments as we do every week to celebrate the winners and check in on the standings for our league.
I see what's going on with these games.
Yeah.
Right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if anyone wants to check in a little bit more heavily on what we're doing here at the store, how we're running the league, achievements, which will come into play in some of these games, you can go to teamcovenant.com/Tulsa, and you'll find the Summer League docs link there.
And the schedule.
And the schedule, everything you could ever want to know to keep up with what we're doing here. So let's move it on to the very first tournament report that we have from Dennis Harlian, the winner of the Star Wars tournament on Tuesday. Congrats to Dennis.
Here.
Yeah. Consistently winning games, consistently still a world champion. So
He is still the world
what
champion.
more can you ask for? On his light side, he was running a tricolor Super Friends deck for achievements. This is the achievement to get Han, Luke, and Leia in play all at once.
It is, and it's actually really tough. But he was running his solo Jedi objective was the Luke objective.
Yep.
The only Jedi card in the objective set is Luke. And his goal basically is get Han and Leia in play, Falcon, pop the Falcon, put Luke in, get the achievement, and he did so in game one against me.
Amazing.
He was very happy. Some of those achievements are tough to get, and you don't want to be chasing those at the end of the league. So, congrats
and still
on nailing
winning
it.
the night while doing achievements is
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, imagine a scenario where Luke, Han, and Leia are out.
Yeah, you're good.
You shouldn't lose that, especially
Yeah.
when you had to Falcon in the Luke.
You got other power players.
You
Maybe
do.
it's a new deck. Could be a deck.
Yeah.
Just saying. That's why achievements are there. Dark side was Hoth Frostbite. Pretty good name for that deck. Executor, sacrifice everything. Standard stuff. Key thing led to his victory was bad draws from his opponents and some luck. Didn't see Sleuth Scouts. I'm sure there's a story there.
Yeah. People weren't really around sleuths, so you can get away with some dark side decks when you don't.
You
see
can get away with
sleuths.
a lot whenever people are running Sleuth Scouts. Dennis says pay attention to protect damage and what can be protected. So don't lose track of the fact that you can protect key units, which is very important in the game. And shout-outs go to Zach, Kendall, Matt, etc. Always fun to play great opponents. So, all right. That's a nice little rundown. Let's check out the overall standings on Star Wars there.
All right, right now, first place is Dennis. He's at 30 points. Second place is me at 27. Third place is Kendall at 22. And fourth place right now is Jeremy at 17. And
Still a tight race.
So we're just getting kicked off here. The achievements are going to be big, whether you get all of them or not. You get the bonus points. And just performing consistently to give yourself a shot.
What I really want to see is next week's.
Next week's going to be really interesting.
That's going to be really where we separate things because you got a new pack out and you can't just run the same decks you've been running and expect to do well.
I mean, you can.
You do
They'll
well.
probably be all right.
But I think you'll get
But
surprised.
the thing is, people will not be running those decks.
No, they will not. No, they will not. So
They
get
won't.
ready for the new meta. Moving on to Netrunner on Wednesday. Sam Southard taking another win. He is on fire now.
He's on it. He's in it to win it, man.
This is ever since he took the Plugged In tour. I think that was a real turning point. And Sam
It's like, wait, I can win.
Sam has
For
now.
real.
Sometimes it takes a major tournament win, and then you get your mind right, and it's like, wait, I am in the upper echelon here. I can do this, and I'm consistently impressed by Sam's performance. He has stepped it up here, and to see another win, that's huge for him. It's huge for his standings in the league. And let's see what he was doing. He was doing Jinteki with a lot of killing, Neural EMP, RSVP, and Nisei. Caprice, Nisei,
Yeah,
I'm
that
guessing.
pack hit last week.
Boy, howdy. So Caprice was
Boy,
out
howdy.
in full force, and I'm sure that the Jinteki deck running it, that's an impact for certain in his success. And on his runner side of things, Andromeda, Count Siphon, same old thing, Fall Guy, the new card. Run the Fall Guy. Says lots of money quickly, basically. I believe the exact term was Money Dash, which is very cool. This is a deck that's been there for a while. Fall Guy does make it better. I kind of like the idea of...
Super nice.
I really like the idea of... Now, I don't know if he's floating. Last time I was playing him, he was running a lot of cards that were removing tags for him, especially the newest one that removes 2 tags and gets you cards.
Yeah.
But maybe he's floating now because Fall Guy makes floating tags really cool too, right? It's like, yeah, you're super poor because you just got a siphoned over and over again, and I can prevent anything that you're trying to trash with Fall Guy. So you got to spend those 2 on Fall Guy first, and then maybe get to the goods. It's like, that's not a good equation for the corp. So I really do like that, and it's a really good tool in Tag Me. We'll see if that's what he was doing. I'm not ultimately sure. Maybe he'll elaborate later on. He said the key things led to his victory for the corp was Neural EMP and snares.
Classic.
Nothing changes, man.
That's classic.
Nothing changes. Jinteki's still doing his old tricks. And then on the other side of the board, Account Siphon keeps them poor and you rich.
Account Siphon is still good.
It's consistently been an overperforming card. I would say that Snare and Account Siphon, both key cards to the victory here, and both cards that have seen enormous amounts of play from the very beginning of this game for obvious reasons.
For good reason, yeah.
What did he learn? Sam said sometimes you got to get lucky, and sometimes you don't play against blackguard decks, which apparently would be an issue. Now, I don't know that it would be a huge issue for Jinteki typically, but it does take a lot of the surprise away, and having to res certain assets and upgrades, I think, would be not that great for Sam. But against certain decks, blackguard, I'm telling you, it's hot around here, by the way.
It's hot?
It's hot.
People using it?
People are using a lot of blackguard right now.
Yeah, I think the ruling that makes it where you can't force the Archer thing
helps a little bit.
Took a little bit of teeth out of it, but it's still phenomenal.
Well, let's look at shout-outs. Tim, because he's cool.
Did he really say that?
He did. Or Tim wrote it. I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
Joe for tying, and he has a quote here which I am attributing to Joe. It says, hopefully it persists and we keep people from winning. So the classic tie so that no one else wins scenario. He has said Grant for not being here and beating me all the time, which is true. And then in quotes again, blackguard is good.
Capital good.
Capital good, so be ready. If you guys haven't been playing around with blackguard, if the meta isn't trying this out, give it a go, give it a shot, and just see how you like it. Because it's a deck. It's definitely a deck.
For real. Well, cool.
Is it the strongest criminal deck? Questionable. Questionable. They didn't really need to get... It's different, but is it better? That's really the question you have to ask yourself.
It's cool. I'm glad they have another way of playing. So league standings right now, Sam Southard, strong first, 36 points.
Man, taking it from Joe this week.
But Joe's right on his tail. 35 points in the number 2 slot. Number 3 is Hank Lloyd, 24 points. Number 4 is Ken Norton at 20, and it goes on down from there. But looks like it's going to be an arms race.
Sam and Joe are bringing it this time around. So that's going to be a close one all the way to the finish, I have no doubt.
It'll be good.
Little competition's good for everybody, right? Right. Well, let's move on to Thrones. Let's talk about Matt Phillips. I mean, how many times can we talk about this Baratheon Black Sails deck?
I'm going to put it at 8 times.
I think we've talked about it 8, so
right,
it's cut off.
We're out of here. You just want to go straight to the standings?
So Phillips wins yet again with Baratheon Black Sails, taking the tournament. Solid, consistent deck. It's no surprise. Once this deck is winning and you know how to play it, it's hard to stop winning with it because you just know. You know the answers. You know what to get. You have the cards that you need in your hold, and you go for it. So, Matt Phillips, man.
I will say, I mean, it was quite the week for him. Our Thrones is on every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. We live stream it. And the Wednesday just before that, he and I actually went to Oklahoma City, about an hour and a half away. Played in a store championship at Little Shop of Games there in Oklahoma City. And they were actually doing Melee only, which I don't know how he convinced me to go into that type of scenario. Anyways, and it super tight race. It was he and I were at the top table with 2 other people, and came down to the wire, but he took it. And he got it as the store championship win. So he won that night.
That's good at Melee.
Came the next night, won again, and there he is.
And then he came on Friday, and I smoked him. So for all those watching, especially you, Matt, I am coming for you.
Well,
I still have your number. Yeah,
so
but he actually beat me once, and I think he now knows how to play it a little bit better. Yeah, that's the cool thing, by the way, about playtesting is like you can lose a matchup 15 times, and then it's like something happens in the game, and it's like, oh, that is really important for me to do from here on out.
Changes the course of the game.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, if he doesn't have Winter.
So we won't dive into his deck, but any shout-outs there? I want to make sure we get the shout-outs in.
No, I have no shout-outs for Matt. He has officially not because he didn't shout out anybody, but because we didn't actually get a chance to ask him for shout-outs.
Oh.
And secondarily to that is, I think he shouted out everyone possible.
Everyone's been shouted out by Matt.
I think his mom's been shouted out. Everyone here at the store's been shouted out. The Covenant community's been shouted out. Every single Thrones player has been shouted out. He shouted out Simone once. I think he's pretty soon. He's just gonna be shouting out to shout out.
I'm gonna shout the shout outs out. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna shout out to my old tournament report.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out to Matt Phillips from 2 weeks ago. Thanks. Looks like the standings are Matt is 1. Number 2 is Jacob
Kern. Yeah.
Number 3 is Chris Kaiser. Number 4 is Ben Ruggles.
So Kaiser at 31 points, Kern at 32 points, Jacob Kern, and then Matt at 49 points. So that's pretty significant there. Matt is running away with this thing. He needs to start losing the weekly tournaments, and Kaiser and Jacob need to start winning them. And I feel like Mr. Clemens should be on there. He's been having a rough time of it so far.
Let me just see something real quick.
Yeah, let's check it out. Let's see if there's if we can get a recalculation from the judges.
It looks like Sean's in 5th.
There he is.
That
Okay.
makes a lot
I
more
figured
sense.
he'd be up there
I fixed
somewhere.
that up.
Give me the official rundown. Give me top 6.
All right, Matt Phillips, Jacob Kern, Chris Kaiser, Ben Ruggles, Sean Clemens, and Tim Bunn. And then you're
Excellent.
right there.
Ooh, with 20?
20.
Man, I'm in the running.
You got a shot.
All right. Well,
So that's Thrones.
I should come destroy Matt one day. Probably this week. Coming for you, Matt.
He's watching.
I'm coming for you, Matt Phillips. We have a rivalry, if you guys didn't know. It's very healthy. Yeah, so
Healthy and
Thrones is off to the races. Matt's running away with that, but of course there's 6 slots to fill for that top 8. Well, let's look at the weekend, man. We had Lord of the Rings and I'm sorry, not Lord of the Rings, Infinity and X-Wing, the 2 miniatures games. We had a miniature weekend, and both excellent events. Infinity's still a growing community, and did a lot of. I think we decided to just do. Everyone wanted to just do some free play, so we didn't do any kind of a tournament, and we had, I think, throughout the day like 4 or 5 Infinity players coming and going. And I am in love with this game right now.
You've been talking about it a lot.
I am completely in love with this game. There's so much to say and so much to do and so much that I think we're going to amp up on our end. But Infinity, fantastic. I keep playing, and it just keeps getting more and more clear to me how to win. And my mind has been blown by the idea of face-to-face rolls and whether or not you should take them ever. And I won't dive into it, but I think we're going to do.
Seems like a video under its
I think
own.
we're going to do video on it and about how this is kind of a revolution in my thinking about Infinity. It's very important, but excellent game, and I am so happy we picked it up and have it in the store and are getting to play it. And that community here locally is building, and that really helps. But let's look at the Infinity standings, because Rick's been playing a lot of Infinity. I've played against him a few times this week.
Top 4 right now. Rick is in first place, 23 points.
Yep.
James is in second, another consistent pace here, 14 points. Stefan's in third with 8, and T-Bone Pickens is in fourth with 6. Tim Bunn.
Tied with, actually, looks like Brian as well.
Also with Brian Warren.
So, man, there's Infinity happening. Rick has been playing a ton of Infinity, and it shows. He's getting really good. And if you want to get good at this game, if you want to try this game out, just come in and play over and over again. Get it handed to you. It's the learning curve on Infinity is high, especially if you come into a mature community or playing against a good player versus a new player. The difference there is pretty significant.
There's so many fundamental tactics that you can just get wrong and lose a game because of.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. And it's just like, you have to imagine, what is it like to be a commander of a tactical force that can't make mistakes? It's not easy.
I'll tell you what it's like to die.
It's not easy.
You'd be dead.
Well, let's go on to X-Wing. We had a nice little X-Wing tournament at 3 p.m. We have like 8 or so participants in that guy. Really nice, healthy crowd. And Matthew came in and won the entire tournament. I believe, is Matthew, he's one of the there's a bunch of out-of-town guys that came in.
Yeah, there were a couple players from Bartlesville and Collinsville that came in, and he's one of them.
And it's Matthew Broke, I believe. Broke or Break?
Break.
Matthew Break. Hit the break. Let's see what Matthew was doing. He was
I'm really interested to hear this.
Running Garvin, Dutch, heavy laser cannons, and marksmanship. So we see what's going on there. Proton he says he's got Proton and turret. Does that make sense to you? Proton turret, R2 Astro, R2D2.
Sorry, let me read this. It just says turret. Proton, it's not Proton turret. Garmin
No.
Proton. Dutch
I did have
turret.
a Proton turret in Escape Velocity though, which was a phenomenal game. So these are what kind of a list can you wrap your head around here? Garvin and Dutch being the main players. So give me some insight into what this list is doing. So obviously sits back with heavy laser cannon marksmanship. That's a classic thing. Garvin and Dutch. What else is going on here with this guy?
I mean, it's a really interesting list. I will say I was around. I had a list ready to play, and me playing would have made the numbers odd.
Yeah.
And someone have a bye,
Classic.
and I'm not going to do that. And every time after he played, watching his opponent's face, it just felt like they got utterly destroyed.
Nice.
And even Taylor, who's around a lot playing, Taylor's actually in the lead in the league right now. Played him. Everyone was kind of expecting TIE Interceptors because Imperial Aces just came out. And I was going to run Interceptors, but no one was running Interceptors. Not a single person. So people had teched against Interceptors, and then it didn't happen. So there's some really cool choices. I'm glad to see a list that isn't 3 B-Wings.
It's a very different list.
B-Wings and X-Wing, or just all the typical stuff. It's very atypical, and it's got some really interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, I want to kind of see the whole thing, but I'm also glad that I can't see like the entire spread, you know. So we'll have to figure it out for ourselves. The key thing that led to victory: heavy laser cannon, fantastic, says Matthew, and target lock focus bouncing synergy.
Yep.
So figure that one out, guys. Garvin, Dutch, heavy laser cannon, marksmanship, bouncing stuff, R2 Astro, R2D2. Man, that sounds really cool. Yeah. I want to see this in play now.
You can.
What did you learn? Garvin dies fast. Biggs is a problem. Couldn't concentrate fire.
That's funny.
Very nice. And then any shout-outs I'd like to give? Robert, his wife. Actually, wife comes first. Wife, Robert, Jesse, kids. They give me strength. Very cool. And also Lincoln. I don't know if that's referring to President Lincoln or
some guy named Lincoln.
Maybe a player.
I think it's Lincoln Green, who was his friend.
Lincoln Green. That would make a lot more sense. And one to President Lincoln.
But I think on my next shout out, I'm definitely going to pick a random president the next time I win a tournament.
Well, let's see the standings.
All right.
Congrats to you, Matthew. Thanks for coming in and playing. I'm sure it was. I hope it was a good time, and obviously for you, it turned out quite well.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the different lists and the different players. Players that don't typically play here playing here was cool, just because it's a fresh take on the game. Anyways, standings. First place right now is Taylor, 19 points. He's way ahead. Second is Robert Osborne, 7 points. Matt Brake, 7 points. And Chris Redding with 7 points. Rounding out the top 4.
Yeah, and then we go down to Dennis down at 6. So some good X-Wing coming in and a really good community here forming up. So I could not be more excited to see the miniatures games take off like they are. And it's just a good time for some laid-back X-Wing Infinity.
And that game is just getting started, man.
Oh, man, it's so good.
Just getting warmed up.
We're about to get some big ships up in here,
big ships, Wave 4, Rebel Aces. It's good. It's good stuff. It'll be cool to see where we're at come Gen Con or even through the regional season.
Well, we got one last game, Lord of the Rings. Let's see where the standings are at least. There's been an awesome little race going on in the league.
There is.
Ben, Derek, Robert, Philip. It's very, very close there.
So you have 2 groups.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ben and Derek, who have kind of decided to make this thing happen. You also got Robert and Philip, who are making it happen.
Yeah.
So it really is a tight race. I'm seeing them in here playing Lord of the Rings all the time. So if you play Lord of the Rings and you're watching this, come on down. Thursday night, right? Thursday night is the new Lord of the Rings League
Thursday night, come in and play. You can play anytime,
pretty much Lord of the Rings going on all the time. Anyway, so the standings are current. It's super tight. First place, tied for first, is Derek Tarvin and Ben Comstock.
Yeah, so both those guys are in first place, and then followed right behind them.
Close behind is Robert Johnson at 27 points, 2 points behind. Philip Burkholder at 23, and then it goes on down from there. But it's an arms race. So the thing with these kids.
This is a great 29, 29, 27, 23. Heaven forbid those 4 get together and play some 4-man quests. The quest wouldn't stand a chance. These guys are obviously good.
Well, the interesting part of this is because of the way the kits are designed, there's a limited number of playmats available.
Absolutely.
So this is an arms race, and I am really interested to see who ends this, and hopefully we'll be able to get some Lord of the Rings going onto the stream.
There's going to be some rare playmats, too.
This league's ever, super rare.
Very cool.
They're awesome looking.
All right, guys. Well, that's the update for your week. Hopefully you get a little insight into our meta around here, and therefore ideas to travel into your meta or ways to beat the things that you're seeing. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to catch the live stream, teamconan.com/TV, 6:30 Central Time on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday, we are occasionally streaming League Night and or role-playing sessions, which we do Friday nights sometimes. That'll usually be at 6 p.m. and onward, and then Saturday, whatever's going on. This next Saturday coming up, we have our Game of Thrones tournament.
Nope.
No?
Star Wars.
It's Star Wars?
It is totally Star Wars. Game of Thrones is the week after that.
I was getting amped up to make an appearance, but I guess it won't happen.
No.
All right, so never mind.
Sorry. It's Star Wars, but that's good. New pack came out, and it's excellent.
Also, we will be gone next week.
Well, I won't.
You won't be, but you won't be on video to not be gone.
Maybe I won't. I can
maybe.
iPhone it.
Look for the weekly tournament report in text on teamkona.com as we have done in the past, and we will resume the video reports when we get back.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, so cool to build a community both here in Tulsa and online through these tournament reports and videos. We hope you come down and see us sometime.